Heidi is a 2024 film directed by Lynn Moody. This is written by Moody, based, of course, on the story by I've never read it. I feel like it's something I should read at some point, but I can't compare it to the novel. If anybody has any thoughts on that, please feel free to share. We have a cast including Tim Kaiser as the grandfather and Emily Dunphey as Heidi. And I will say Dunphey is brilliant. She gives a really great performance as Heidi. The story is sweet. Some of the editing definitely isn't. Heidi is a story of a little girl who stays with her grandfather, but she might be sent to live in the city. And she doesn't want to go. Obviously, she wants to be with her grandfather. Where will she end up by the end of the film, and what lessons will be learned along the way? I won't say any more than that. I obviously don't want to go into too much detail because, in general, I do recommend it. The story is very sweet. Obviously, I can't compare it to the book, but I'm going to assume that it's similar. I've not read anything to suggest otherwise, but again, if anybody has any thoughts on that, please feel free to share. But I liked the narrative. I really liked Heidi as a character. I thought she was very, very likeable. The only real issue is some of the editing, and I don't know if it's a green screen issue, but there are certain times when it looks fake. For example, there's one moment when Heidi and another character are standing on the doorstep, and we're the perspective of the door looking at them, and there's a bush to the side, and the bush looks like it's been cut out. And there's a moment where they're in a carriage, and the carriage wheels off, and it just doesn't look right. And I don't know if it's a green screen issue, or if there's something with the editing, or if it's overexposed. I'm not the most technical when it comes to films, so I don't 100% know what the issue is. If anybody has more knowledge about the technical aspect of filmmaking, please feel free to share, but it just looks off in certain places. Not for the whole film, not enough for it to be ultimately off-putting, but enough that I noticed it. So visually, in some ways it's quite attractive, in some ways it really, really isn't, and I found that to be a little irritating, but as I said, it wasn't every single scene. But the narrative itself is really lovely. Most of the acting is good. Heidi as a character is very, very likeable, and as is her grandfather, and I was keen to find out what would happen. It's a little emotional, but not overly emotional. In general, I would say it's a pretty easy watch. If you're curious, if it sounds like something that might appeal to you, then I'd say give it a go. As I said, the novel is something I feel like I should check out at some point, so I might do. The story certainly appeals. Again, I don't know if it's like for like the same, but I'd be quite curious to find out. And for now, I'm generally happy to recommend Heidi. It's not perfect. Visually, it looks a little bit awkward at times, but the performances are generally good, the characters are well written, and the story is very sweet. So, all things considered, I'd say Heidi is an okay film, definitely a watchable film, and if it sounds like the kind of story for you, then I'd say it's worth watching.